Good morning and welcome to Deep Space Nine Reactions. I am Fred. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. For those who are new here, we are going through every episode of Deep Space Nine in order, and we are towards the end of season one. We are up to the arguably one of the greatest episode of Star Trek ever produced, regardless of series, Duet. I rank this as Duet is actually my favorite Star Trek episode of all time. I will place it at number one. City of the Edge of Forever, number two. Waltz, number three, also the Deep Space Nine episode. The It's Only a Paper Moon, also Deep Space Nine episode at number four, and number five. I can never remember the name of it. The Siege of AR, is it 458 or something to that extent. Essentially, it's the episode that sets up It's Only a Paper Moon. So yes, you heard that right. In my top five, it's four Deep Space Nine episodes plus one TOS episode. Which, if you don't know me by now, know how little I think of the Next Generation in Star Trek Voyager. It's like, and we all know about Enterprise and Strange New World Discovery, blah 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 blah. Anyway, what do I remember about Duet? Well, I remember a whole lot about this episode. Uh, this was an episode that, when it aired, it was roughly around the same time. I think there was the TV broadcast premiere of Schindler's List on ABC. I think that timing was right, or somewhere along those lines. Because if memory serves me right, Schindler's List was like 91, 92. This episode was 93, and so the television, because it was always a big deal with like major movies, like having like airing on network television with, and sometimes they would turn them into multi-night events. So it was a big deal back then. And so a lot of the context of seeing Schindler's List and then seeing Duet, and and then also further context here, on my father's side, it definitely comes from a Jewish background, and I have family on that side of my grandfather, my dad's father, just to clarify that, uh fought in World War II. I had like a number of what you call them, like grand uncles, grand cousins, also from that same generation, who fought and died in Europe in World War II. A lot of them of the Jewish faith. So there is a lot of that connection there, and so what you have here with Duet is basically Star Trek's near equivalent. I want to say Judgment at Nuremberg, which also features William Shatner, and a movie I actually recommend. Um, but it's the close. It is the most. It's the closest Deep Space Nine really gets to fully addressing like the mindset of the Cardassians during the occupation, until really Waltz in like season six. Anyway, let's get into Duet here. No opening star date, but we all know it was a Tuesday. But this episode, there is a wonderful, cute little conversation here. Again, with Kira and Dax exchanging more words of dialogue between them than Troy and Crusher ever did in The Next Generation. And they're talking about like mischief they got up to as a kid. And Kira has a great line of like, which you are you talking about, Dax, when it comes to breaking windows? Because at this point, she's had 7 hosts. The, the freighter's name is the Wreck Munis. That was like a great character for like a fanfic story. Yes, our name is Rack Munis. Dude doesn't have his medication to deal with Kalanora. Suspicious in its own way, but it's also, I know, I'm not even gonna pretend it's like, well, I'm gonna wait for the reveal. It's like he's faking it. It's like the dude is Maritza. He's pretending to be Goldar Heel, who oversaw the atrocities and everything at the labor camp Galatep. I think that was it. Wait, is it Galatep? Yeah, Galatep. Okay. Thankfully, I actually put the well, in case you don't know, I do put the subtitles on. Hard to tell with the fact that I have it so blurred and everything. But what do you expect from me? And again, I appreciate it. As someone who played a lot of Star Trek online, and knowing that they actually got the proportion of like the turbo lift that leads directly, that you can almost walk directly to the infirmary from it, or walk from the infirmary directly to Quarks, like a like like a distance of maybe like 20-30 feet, if that. So like when they made the internal renovations to Deep Space Nine in that game to be in proportion with the show, it's like those little details. I just one learns to appreciate when actually going back and watching the show. And if you're watching this on the day this is going up on YouTube, no, I did not play the new mission yet. I have to reinstall Star Trek Online. Uh, because we all know they only add like new content to that game like once every 6 months or so, if you're lucky. But anyway, I don't know nothing about the actor who played Maritza slash Goldar. Other than the fact that apparently he was like a major deal and is like Nana Visitor gets a lot of, well, she gets a lot of praise for this episode outright, but she like stepped up her game to like go go toe to toe verbally during a lot of their scenes together. So again, it goes to show where sometimes someone can bring the best out of someone in an acting performance. Not that I know anything about acting. I have never acted. I have never been on stage. Well, no, I take that back. I did. I was on stage for like as part of an ensemble chorus in elementary school, but to actually do a performance, remember lines and stuff. Yeah, never did that. I do like the fact where they fade out and they fade back in, and not quite the same camera angle, but to at least have the conversation just continue from one to the next. Yes, he is the problem. He is a Cardassian that has Kalanora, which you can only have gotten if he was at Galatept. I kind of wonder if there is a real life parallel to that. In terms of somebody having a disease that was only can be contracted to one specific spot, one particular time and place, like a particular condition. It, it it's few and far between, or like nothing comes to mind immediately. And take a swig of water for the working man. Odo collects list of criminals. Why? Because damn it, if somebody's gonna come into his station, he's gonna know about it. He's gonna know who they are, where they're from, who their parents are, who their grandparents are, what they have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner within the last 26 hours. Now, as Kira goes into the full details of contracting Kalanora, like like any Kardashian that would have been there and contracted it and would have gone through, like, seen everything what the Kardashians did to the Bajorans at that camp. like starved, brutalized, the women being violated, it the old people and children tossed into pits. It's it uh, the entire spiel that Kira delivers is like you can hear the voice cracking in Nana Visitor's voice, and I always wondered if she had to turn away because she tried to control to keep herself in check. Uh, there, like it could be like great direction and everything, but sometimes we've seen some. There are some actors where sometimes like they get themselves so worked up that they like you don't know where the performance ends. A great example is in Far Beyond the Stars, the which will be my sixth favorite episode of Star Trek ever. Where at the end of it, Avery Brooks is like he's going, it's real, and the breakdown he goes into is like where he completely like loses himself in the moment, and and legend says like nobody knew when to cut say cut because he was also the director of that episode there of that particular episode. Yes, I'm talking about that, and we was talking about Duet, but I the parallels here. And again, I am reacting, but I'm also doing a commentary discussion. I'm talking with you guys here. There's a reason I kind of list this as a podcast because it's like a stream of consciousness. Now, the Now we'll comment on the other Bajoran person in the holding cell, saying that Odo was not going to keep him in that cell with one of those, as referring to Maritza. It's a it's a real stretch. It's not so much of a stretch there, but considering all the hostilities between the hostility the Bajorans have towards the Cardassians, it's very straightforward and understandable. Some to a very large degree. That's a and you could safely say we've seen like some real life things here. It was like the hostility people with a brain have towards people with no brains. Some but there is something about this episode, and again, doubling back to Kira as Cisco speaking with the Bajorian minister. Isn't it interesting that in back-to-back episodes, Ramatas Persone and Duet, Kira basically is going about out of her way to trying to justify holding a freighter in the previous episode because of their connection with the Cardassians and smuggling weapons and so forth. In this episode, where it is holding a Cardassian because they happen to have Kalanora and they were at Galatep. It, it, it it's it's a unique circumstance there where it's like, did they really have to play that out there the way it did in terms of the episode ordering? With Kira essentially having almost the exact same conversation with Cisco, with almost the exact same vibe. It's I think it's the only real time in any Star Trek series where that happens to be the case. Random table in the middle of the promenade. Now that is kind of odd. Why is this here? Because it's not exactly the table coming down by the stairs. It's near like a the large doors, but it's too far from the where I know where the replicant would be. It's kind of a weird positioning. Although, like, heck, I would say it's like thinking about it. It's like because the promenade is almost like a mall area, and but even then, like in a mall, like you would not never see a table positioned that awkwardly. And Kira giving her word that she will conduct herself accordingly and professionally and doing the investigation and interrogating Maritza. Cisco is reluctant here, and Kira bringing up a key thing here. Kira saying that you once said that we were friends. I'm asking you as a friend to let me do this. To let her to conduct the investigation. So that's a callback to progress and everything. So it's and it says like, oh, there is the serialization of Deep Space Nine does not begin until really like to the end of season 2, going into season 3. No, the serialization has been happening since day one. Because in this one scene, there's or in this episode, you can say there's a number of callbacks up to this point. But again, I just can't get over the awkward placement of this damn table. Like the Kira like moves the table there, and it's too far from the replomat, and it's just awkward. It's awkwardly positioned. Telling this guy to stay out of trouble for a day or two, and the dude's looking forward to hanging a Cardassian. I'd rather hang with a Kardashian. Yeah, more than likely, but you know, I'm not her type. Short, white, and fat. Keep digging into those records, Odo. Do what you do best. Investigate. And now it begins. What is essentially, you could say, it's a bottle episode with how much how much of it is just in this one room. Sometimes that's all you need is two people having a conversation. Yeah, Kira will ask any way you can answer yes or no all you want. Now it's interesting thing that Maritza comments that the meal needs some yamak sauce, and with it coming in and going back to the episode progress, what did Quark get rid of? Yamak sauce, thanks to the J No Consortium, or is it No J Consortium? One or the other, I forget. One or the other. Your lines are going to be this transparent. It's going to be a very sure interrogation. In that case, I'll try to make my lies more opaque. Which is one of the greatest, like, call and response back there. He'll, he'll be very disappointed in what he was doing. Like, he was a filing clerk. Yes, a filing clerk. Believe me, there. When it comes to a military operation or any, it's like filing is very important. True story. As I've mentioned at various points of times in my streaming history and everything, I served in the United States Army for a time, and one thing I was constantly assigned to, like after finishing basic training and doing like trying to complete my MOS training, which didn't go particularly well, I was assigned to doing a shit ton of filing. You know, do you know how ridiculous filing is in like the motor pool? It's like the ref the filing system of like the motor pool at Fort Belvoir was downright ridiculous because it's like had to do it day after day after day. Like they couldn't put the people who actually worked there full time, the like could not put the files back in their own order, so you had to take them all out of the filing cabinet and then put them all back in alphabetical order. Then they come along and they come along and take the file that they need, and then they come back, they shove it back in there. So you got to go back and do it again the next day. I'm not. I'm not even kidding. it's so again, it's like a filing clerk. Yeah, I know all about it. The, the conditions at Galatep were harsh, and yeah, the Bajorians were not totally, probably were not completely on board with helping one another survive the ordeal. Golda Hero was a brilliant, extraordinary man who knew how to rule by fear. And you can, and here's a subtle thing here with Maritza's like here there. You can actually hear like the disgust in his voice when he's putting a little bit of like praise onto Golda Hero and like what he did in the as relates to his reputation. But he now him pointing out that leaving was a political decision was which is kind of true, because from what I understand of the timing of things, the Kardashians leave Bajor as a result of like chain of command or some in the TNG with starting everything in the failed Minos Cove incident, as thwarted by Captain Edward Jellicoe. Hey, go Ducat. No, I actually had a friend at one point in time who was a Star Trek fan. Had a cat. They call him Gold the Cat, which is actually one. And not enough. It was a gray colored cat. It was like a gray and like blackish fur. Oddly enough, but it just sticks out to me that all these years later. Hey, I had that somebody named the cat Gold the Cat. And now you would just want to see like a catified version of Gold Ducat, complete with cat ears and everything. But also, one has to appreciate Mark Alamo, how many times he gets brought in and having to go into not just the full makeup, but also the costuming as well. Yeah, the Kardashians being mad, the Golden Cop pointing out, saying that the Bajoran being obsessed with everything that happened during the occupation is distasteful. Like, okay, for him, it's like, yeah, the past is in the past. But then then there's the Bajor. Yeah, it's the past is in the past, but it's very recent past, and those wounds are still open. The irony of Gold Dukat saying that a Kardashian needed doesn't that Cisco doesn't need his help in protecting one Cardassian citizen from the Bajoran hate mongers. It's real funny considering that Garrick is on the station, and also Garrick gets bitten in early in season 2 by a boy, a Cardassian boy, the 12-year-old, played by a 22, 23-year-old actor. Oh, but it's yeah. Needless to say, I want to have a little bit of fun when we get to the episode Cardassians in season 2. Uh, wise wise person Dax easily taking the Guinan role. The Yeah, Kira doesn't want him to be a file clerk. He wants Maritza to be something worse. This how Now again, something to point out here. Terry Farrell is like 6 feet tall. With her hair, she is clearly 6'2", 6'3", with how her hair is stacked up. I'm not even kidding. Like, her forehead is here, the top of her head with her hair is here. Uh, Damn, I didn't really think that through on reframing the camera box. Okay, I also got a comment on the changing in the camera angles and such. Like, it was shot, that scene shot from like the back of Kira. It shows how tall that Terry Farrell is to Nana Visitor. But then when you see that same scene shot from like with from the back of Dax is like it makes not a visitor look nearly as tall as Terry Farrell. And here is Nala, or the character that should be Nala, should be appearing in, or Miss not appearing on what should be her major role in the season finale, because I guess actor availability or something or other led to a recasting. Like, yeah, Kardashian destroying all the records at the occupation. Gee, I wonder why. Yeah, what do you? That's just, okay. Here at least is reasonable if like if he's just a filing clerk, he'll be let go. Isolate, zoom and enhance. You have to do better than that. Yeah, it's like zoom and enhance. Like, it was a popular trope before CSI came along. Uh, It can't be Maritza. It doesn't even look like the same dude. Like, who's in the cell? Like, look at the Cardassians in the foreground. And it's amazing, is like the reconstruction, like go past like the going past the image of the dudes and like able to reconstruct the face and everything. It was surreal in the episode of the Next Generation. Oh, what the hell was the name of that episode? It's one of the more awful ones. But the resolution was like, somebody's obscure face is revealed, and it's like, how can you reconstruct a face when it's obscured? I get that like advanced 24th century computers can do wonderful things, but it's kind of like, no, I take that back, because the episode Identity Crisis, where Jordy was basically able to reconstruct everything from a video record in the holodeck. So yes, the Star Trek computers, they can do whatever is necessary if the plot demands it. Did you figure out that he was going to heal all by yourself? And it's like he's leaning back. It's like, is this lay there in a sexy manner? Yeah, there wasn't a war. That's a good legit question. How could it be war crimes if there wasn't a war? At least from the Cardassians' point of view, it wasn't a war. There, there was no war, no glory. Pedro didn't resist. It surrendered. Well, at first. Oh, he's gonna explain it to. It's gonna explain it to Kira. Like, I love that. I knew how much more satisfaction you would get in revealing the truth and finding out who I was. It's like it's just a wonderful thing. He's just like chewing up the scenery. The scenery may be gray, a metallic gray, but the but he but he's chewing up that scenery like nothing, like nobody's business. He's puts like he's chewing up that scenery as if it's fried chicken, mashed potatoes, collard greens with a slice of pumpkin pie. No, like he is just devouring this scene here, and is and it's like it's such an impressive rant. He admits every damn thing. He was the best at what he did. Uh, How do we know? Like, what Goldar he'll know that Kira was part of the Shakar resistance cell? I don't think so. Granted, I know he wouldn't think so because he's like he wouldn't care about the background of some. Well, let's be honest, because it was said in a earlier episode that Kira was a minor would be considered a minor operative. So there is, and we know how that struck to Kira's ego when when that was brought up. And again, another opening, another strong scene with Kira and Odo coming. He went to Quark's to get her some alcohol. And he got it from Quark's private stock. So, and again, Quark's, the entrance to Quark's from where the Odo's office is literally like if you exit it, it's like you hang a left and then you go forward and hang a right. Yeah, it goes to show how close everything is, and actually the promenade in many ways is kind of laid out like if you ever seen like old westerns like the Rifleman and stuff, westerns where there were like stationary sets and locations. It so you can almost identify like how long it would take to walk from one place to another, and you so that really applies a lot to the layout of the promenade. Hey, oh, that's a choice that they toss the word in superior Cardassian face there. That in terms with Kira's line of dialogue, that's well, like why we wouldn't want to give them like the say the superiority or reference it in any shape, way, or form, at least from Kira's point of view. Yeah, how did he know that you were with the Shakar? Like he was an important military leader, but again, you could go back to callback here, and again, if you're watching the episodes in order, and if you're paying attention, uh, to a large degree, and even I'm doing a laying out a bit of an ongoing conversation with you folks, but Odo picks up on it. Like we're like something ain't right. Like the leader of a labor camp will not know who's in a in like different resistance cells. Are you back to see the butcher? No, she's here to see the baker and then the candlestick maker. Like he's like yeah, she is a strutting little egotist. Again, think back a couple several episodes ago when she with the reaction she had to being a minor operative. He, but again, credit to the guy playing Maritza here. Is like he goes all in on every line, every inflection, and non visitor is just matching word for word, tone for tone. It, it's it's just incredible to watch, and even better to just listen to. Like if you've never seen the Deep Space Nine episode Duet, uh, hell, if you've never seen an episode of Star Trek in general, go just watch this episode in and of itself. You don't need any real context beforehand, even though I know a lot of context and stuff before this episode that was lays out there. But it is just fantastic. It there is the pacing of it, the dialogue exchange, the revelation as the mystery gets unraveled step by step. And here come a bunch of Bajoran rabble rousers, survivors of Goldatep, Galatep. Yeah, so it's like I'm sorry, Goldatep sounds like yeah, it would be a Kardashian character. The pain, the sorrow, Do you think the survivors of Galatep were like to gamble? Work is all heart. Those awkward colored Bajoran medical uniforms, which is like brown and blue. Couldn't they have given them like something like a kind of like a light aquamarine with a blue ensemble for them? Next, yes, route the transmission to Odo's office, even though he just went to Bashir. You missed our games of Calamity and Maltar. Like we only play one game and you cheated. Yeah, it was just one game. But one game is still a game. Odo was like a blunt instrument. No, that will be Worf. Why can't you give him the files to Goldar Heel? The files will tell you that he is dead. Yeah, he attended the funeral himself. Like, are there any monuments or Cardassia that are not military? That raises that raises a question there because Cardassia is a very militaristic. The civilian government doesn't really or totally have much power or sway over the military. He says his name is Goldar Heel. This is what this Kardashian's saying. Like, why would why would he lie about being? Why would he lie about being calling himself Goldar Heel? And you know what's great here with the acting because Gold Mark Alamo is in clearly does his scenes in one location. Rene Auberjonois is in another, and the intensity of the dialogue exchange, and like the credit to the acting and the directing here, to really shows like the back and forth with the slightly elevating of you can hear the irritation in Gold Ducat's voice over like, hey, wait, there's somebody claiming to be Goldar Hill, but I know he's dead. I attended his funeral. And it's all about a reluctant way to give Odo access to the files he needs to help resolve this situation. Like it would be it's a wise way of handling things. Sometimes you gotta know how to talk to a Kardashian. Kira was 12 years old when she started fighting. Get to the real issue. How many Cardassians did you kill? I mean, personally, I didn't keep count. Well, I think you did. I'm sure your total wasn't limited to military personnel. And oh, the most effective weapon was random violence. And you know what? The fact that he gets into there, and it's again a wonderful exchange. The glory of Cardassia. Again, there is the pride of the Cardassian side for their world and their empire. It's it's again there's just so much here, so much it's perfect. It, I just can't help it. It's like you get into the dialogue and it's like just want you to like recount it nearly word for word. And Odo is filling in Kira on what's going on. That this guy wanted to be caught. It's like the the layers upon layers. Like, what is the truth of the matter? And it really is testing Kira in terms of like he's told Cisco that she will conduct herself in a professional manner as the first officer of the station. And she is certainly doing that. Is it a forged document? And of course, Kira's leading into like, oh, the Kardashians are playing a trick, and it's like to get us to let this guy go. Eleanor said, the evidence that I've been sent, Godar Hio never contracted that condition. So it's like, yes. So it's like now you got it's like somebody has Kalanora, Goldar Hero did not have Kalanora. Which one is which? And that Goldar Hero was not even at Galatep when the mining accident occurred. Yeah. So leading everything out there, so that brings us back down to who the hell is in the cell claiming to be Goldar Hero. And Kira can't believe it. And Odo's just laying it on thick. Like in Odo's investigation, it's like it is undercutting everything Kira wants to accomplish, but it is for the greater good of the situation. Like he wanted to come to the one Bajoran station. It's a very unusual. He wanted to be captured, and Kira can't believe it. This evidence may raise it raises some interesting questions. But if it's not Darheel, he, he certainly or listen or pull the security footage. The 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 the, the the detention cells on the station, there is a camera that records the stuff that's in there. We actually saw it from the state in Odo's office when Cisco went to speak to Maritza towards the beginning of the episode. So he started to take some plasticine. Do you know what plasticine is? It's used to like make like little flowers and fruits and stuff. Like you can do some wonderful things with plasticine, and it's been known to be used as a like for like prosthetics and stuff in some cases. So again, if you know what plasticine is, it's a rather deep cut. You can use Maritza's face to the materials of Maritza's face to like put on a to contribute to an exhibit of in the like a flower show in Britain. Yes, that is a James May Toy Story reference to the episode on plasticine, and it is what it is. There, I can make some obscure references when I want to. How did you get Kalanora syndrome? Yeah, the mining accident affected everyone who was there. But but here but here is the thing what I love about this particular scene is that Kira's tone is so different. It's a lot calmer. And this laying into her is like she's looking to unravel the truth step by step with all the information that she has. The, the to pick him up, to pick all of his lies apart one by one. And the big question: why are you pretending to be Goldar Hill? Why don't you ask me something intelligent? And he was, and you can hear the irritation, the increasing irritation in Maritza's voice, and it's like really wanting to oversell that he is Maritza. Like he's going over the top here, and Kira sees right through it now. It's like she said, "You're Maritza, aren't you?" And laying it on there, that whimpering nothing, and they and like where did when he said that He mentioned something like this, like whimpering, crying in his bunk, like wanting to block out the sounds of the women and the children. Like, was it good for nothing? Like under his bunk and weeping like a woman. Like he covered his ears because he couldn't bear to hear her screaming for mercy of the Bajorans, and you hear the sorrow in his voice, and he's breaking down. Oh, this is just a. This is exceptional, exceptional here. Years by night, but I can bear to hear those horrible screams. And like he admits that he is Maritza. That he was a coward, a man who was like had to see the horrors and being there. And like I said, you put this in conjunction again with when this aired in relation to when Schindler's List was in theaters and when it potentially had its broadcast television premiere. It's just heavy, excellent stuff. And Kira saying like gonna let him go, and he backs against the corner of the cell, almost fearful. He was only one man. What could he do? Don't you see? I have to be punished. We all have to be punished. Major, you got to go out and tell them to heal. It's the only way. Why are you doing this? Cardassia. Cardassia will only survive for dance for Victoria and admits the truth. The trial will force Cardassian to acknowledge his guilt. And 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 it's, you know what's nuts is like Maritza's morality here and what he wants to accomplish doesn't really get accomplished, or at least the like Cardassia face coming to face with what it does is where like in season 7 where Damara is asking what type of people gives orders that wipe out civilians and stuff. And then Kira responds to him, "What type? Yeah, Damara, who gives those kinds of orders?" And Damara has that realization that that has that realization is like, yeah, that old Cardassia is gone. And that he was hoping, and Marissa was hoping to bring about a new Cardassia, and it doesn't happen, and the road to it does not begin until like Cardassia is basically in ruins and almost like Bajor. And here's the tragedy: this dude comes behind and stabs him in the back, and he dies instantly. No, like why? He wasn't. Why? He's a Cardassian. That's reason enough. Yeah, not reason enough, dude. And the fate out there, and the fact that nobody's calling for Dr. Bashir when or anyone from the infirmary, and there is actual blood on the knife. There's actually a nut there. Like Bashir and the folks from the infirmary should have been rushing over there. But that's a nitpick there. It would have like lessened the impact of the episode in and of itself. But yeah, without question, a what more can you really? What can you say about that episode where the dialogue and it's like you just want to recount it and everything? It is. It's so good, and the build up and the tension and the mystery, everything gradually getting unraveled. Where Kiro so badly wants Maritza to be Darheel, and then when she realizes the truth, thanks to Odo and some Bashir's investigations, and like everything is pointing in the opposite direction, that he was just a simple filing clerk, that he has some further ambitions than to like to bring some honor slash integrity back to the Cardassian people because of everything that primarily the Cardassian military did. Um, it's 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 just again, it's a fantastic episode. It's my favorite episode of Star Trek. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. And I said at the beginning that like number 2 is City on the Edge of Forever, but that's like a distant number 2. That's a great episode for like the tragedy for the tragedy that is involved. But this one, it's addressing the tragedies and in a very direct manner. And that raises the question, because if you've ever seen like the Judgment at Nuremberg, which is actually based on the Nuremberg trials and everything, like how much guilt do you really put onto the people who were just, during World War II fighting on behalf of the Nazis? Like, how much guilt do you really put on those people who were just doing their jobs? Like, they were literally, they were just the filing clerks. Uh, they were just the ones doing. It was like they had no power, they had no sway. There's not really much they could do, one way or another. There, like it just it was like the level of guilt in relation to being a collaborator. Like it is such a fish walkie. It's such a extreme slope to cover. Like how much guilt you put on them at the same time, especially those who are not directly involved with a lot of those concentration camps or that, or the soldiers. Like you talk about this, like the supplemental personnel who was like nowhere near those locations. So it's boy. But in the case of Meriton in this episode, he was there. He was a filing clerk. There was nothing he'd do but just uh prying his bunk and like try and block out the sound as best he could, and it's like thing, and just knowing that Cardassia would never like admit to any wrongdoing, and ironically enough, until it really happened to them at the hands of the Dominion much later in the series. Again, fantastic episode. Anyway, if you made it to the very end, thank you very much for watching. If you want to hang out some more, be sure to come over to my Twitch channel later tonight. We are still playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider on our Friday night streams. We are also we have recently started Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which we're playing on Saturdays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays over on the Twitch channel. And also on Wednesdays, as of late, we are back. We have returned back to Tom Clancy's Division 2 to cover the Battle for Brooklyn content. So with that all said, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to toss a brother a few bucks to help keep the lights on, there is a donation link in the description below. Tighten your friendship bracelet. Stay safe. Next Friday, we will be wrapping up season 1 with In the Hands of the Prophets, and to bring it into season 1 of Deep Space Nine. Enough, and on Tuesday we're wrapping up the Ninja Turtle Next Mutation reactions with the excuse me, Wednesday rather. I record those on Tuesday. Anyway, we'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.